Hey Stan, Robert Jordan with Frisco Web Design Guru. Hey man, you sent me an email this week and mentioned that yourself and maybe some of the partners wanted to see a little bit of a portfolio of websites to see who I am as a designer, maybe where we can go with some websites to give you some ideas and see if I'm the right fit for you and your project. And I wanted to follow up with you and give that to you today. But I wanted to do that in a little bit different manner than most. I want to bring it to you today just kind of via an unscripted live video here, just to show you some of these websites. And there's a couple reasons for that. Most designers are going to take one of two approaches to giving you a portfolio. They're going to either pass you a URL of some websites or give you some carefully crafted screenshots and some explanations of some websites. And I don't really like doing that. That for me poses a few problems. Number one, you don't get to see me, hear me as a developer, as a designer, and kind of get to know me and my personality and who you'd be working with. But number two, if I just passed you a URL and said, this is a great website, one that I've done, one that I launched recently, and you went a couple days later and clicked on it, and it opened up to just a mess because the end client had made some changes and added some pictures and taken away some things and did some things without my knowledge, that wouldn't be a fair reflection of who I was as a designer and developer and what the website looked like when it was launched. And thirdly, if I just handed you some pictures of a website, man, then you really don't get the feel of a website and how it operates and what happens when you open it up and what does it look like and really do and feel like when you're on a website. But finally, number four, I really can't show you what I do as a developer just by giving you the URL or a picture. Design is one piece of the puzzle where I'm trying to make a website look good, be very presentable to the end user. But the other piece of that is development. And one of the things that I concentrate on is development and helping clients and people solve problems for them and their businesses. And so part of that is things that you will never see on the front side of a website. Yeah, you might see it in a small piece, but you might not see the time, energy, effort of what that really looks like to problem solve for a business on the back side. And I'm going to be able to show you some of that today and show you what I do as a developer. And also with this video, I kind of want to show you too at the very end. I'm going to encourage you to hang on to the very end. Uh, I want to show you what I saw as a developer when I looked at your trinityheritage.com website, and one of the red flags that I really saw with its current design and development. So just hang on to the end of that. So what I'm going to show you today is pretty simple. I'm going to show you my most recent launched site, just a site that we launched a couple weeks ago, and what it looks like now, and how it works, and why we got where we got with that website. The second site I'm going to show you is actually a site that I'm currently developing. It's in the pipeline, so it is not finished by any stretch of the imagination. But maybe that'll give you a little picture of how I work and what to expect if we work together. Third thing I'm actually going to show you is actually my own website, my new one and my old one, just to kind of give you an idea of how I've developed as a designer and developer and some of the things I'm looking for and where I'm going in the future with that. And finally, I'll again talk to you a little bit about the development side with just websites in general and then your particular website. But let's just jump into this real quick. We'll make it as quick as I can, but try to hit all the features. So the first website I want to show you is dianeshaklin.com. DianeShaklin.com is the most recent website that I helped design, develop, and launch. When Diane came to me, she had a couple questions. What she really wanted was a blog, but she didn't just want your typical blogger.com blog. She wanted something that she could own, that she had copyright over, that she could use very easily, that she could have as a legacy, that she could give to her friends and show off her writing and build an audience with. And so we started tackling all of those issues and came up with this design that you see here. You open it up. She wanted it big and bright, a lot of pictures, explaining a little bit of who she is. She wanted, again, big images that people could click on and kind of get the main gist of who she is and what she'll be writing about, a little bit about her blog. and ways to contact her. One of the issues and problems that I helped her solve is how people would interact with her blog and share it. She didn't want just something that people just had to copy and paste links and all sorts of different things to share. She wanted people to instantly read her stuff and be able to share it. So if you've noticed, since we've been on this site, there's just been this floating bar off to the left side. This is what we call a floating social bar. It allows people, no matter where they're at on the website, to simply click a button and be able to share directly on their own Facebook or Twitter or Google or Pinterest or whatever flavor of social media that you happen to have, and be able to share that real quick and easy. Nobody's got to copy, nobody's got to paste, nobody's got to do anything. She also wanted to build a little bit of an audience and be able to attract the same people over and over and over again, and let people know when she has new content. So we implemented email capture for her to be able to let people quickly and easily sign up to receive updates. Again, this has only been going, I don't even know if it's been going for 2 weeks yet. She's already got 50 some odd subscribers, so she's doing really well at marketing and promoting her stuff. One of the things she also wanted in a design itself was to be able to tell her story in a unique way, to break it up a little bit and have blocks of color and pictures and images that moved and floated in, and be able to do different things like quotes and stuff like that. So we kind of settled on a palette and settled on different ways to present different things, and she's so far very in love with this website and how it works. But for me, on the development side, one of the issues that we faced for Diane was that Diane was not techie in the slightest. And she wanted to be able to blog real easily and to make sure that she could accomplish all of that on her own. But every time Diane would start to talk to me about blogging and anything technical, she would glaze over. And so I had a little bit of a challenge as a developer on how am I going to teach Diane to use her website, to use it effectively, and so that when she wanted to post new content, it wasn't an issue. So one of the things we ended up doing is actually developing a set of tutorials for Diane, and not just any tutorials, a set of video-based tutorials for her, so that no matter what's going on, no matter what she wants to do, she will be able to open up the backside of her website and figure out how to post something, how to trash something, how to do a quick draft, and using tags, anything that she possibly could want to know about in developing and posting of content for her website. I was actually able to put together these videos for her. I didn't have to write the videos, I didn't necessarily have to film the videos myself, but I was able to collate them all together in a way that she could quickly and easily understand her website in a way that a non-techie person would need to. Quick, easy snippets of things that she could do and learn, just like that. So that was one way that one website that I recently worked with, the most recent that I launched. Great representation of what it means not just to design and to make something look pretty, but to work with a client to get what they want out of a website, but also develop the website and solve the problems that they have. It brings me to my next website I want to show you is one that's in the pipeline and one I'm really excited about. This is actually a photography website, if I can spell, photography website that I'm working on for a photographer. She's out of Denton. Her name is Chelsea Guerra. Actually, that is her previous name. One of the things we're working on is actually rebranding of her website, her logo, the whole 9 yards, because she has recently changed her last name. But I am really stoked about this website and where it's going. With a photography website, we want the images to kind of be the feature point so that people can see who she is, her skill set, what she can do, and it really capture people. So we went with this website with just a lot of breathtaking, strong imagery. Now, not all of these photos are hers. Some of these are stock photos that are just filling a spot until we can find that just right photo that she's already taken, or she can go back and take a photo that would kind of fit the motif that we're going with. Again, this is not her logo. This is not her current logo. She's getting that redesigned. Right now it looks something like, bring it over for you. Looks something like this, real basic, simple, but it's an old school logo and not the name she's going with anymore. So she's getting that redesigned, and we'll integrate that later once we get it. But the way I work allows us to not stop for every little hiccup or thing. We can keep designing and developing while we're waiting on other pieces. So you see this website. We're going with a kind of a black and white with pops of colors. I wanted the images to kind of grab you. And so as you notice, we're using an effect called parallax here, where the image kind of stays static and everything flows over the particular image. And you'll see how that just keeps working no matter where we scroll. Keep going for you so you can see it. And so this is just filler text again. We're still working on this website. It's in development. But this is kind of where we're going and what we're going to be doing with this website. The way I design and develop nowadays is not how I used to do it 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I'd pull it up on Photoshop, put it all together, give you a static image for you to look at, and we would go from there. But today's world, because of where web design and development has gone, I can't show you how a website would move, how a website would operate if I just threw it into Photoshop. So I do almost all of my design work now doing what's called live design. I will literally put it together for you to look at, be able to pop into at any point and see where we're going with it. I'll give the client, Chelsea right now, I'll give her 3 or 4 days to review over this design before she gives me final design approval, and I start integrating more of her own photos and really taking this design to some of the finishing stages. But this is kind of how I like to work, just so that you can get a picture and an idea of not just what your website might look like, but how it's also going to operate. For instance, I can't show you on a Photoshop page that this is what's called a one-page website, where clicking on a link is going to cause the website to automatically float down to where it needs to be, or float up to where it needs to be, because it's a one-page website. I can't show that to you on Photoshop, but I can show that to you live. I can't show you how image galleries will work on Photoshop, but I can show that to you in a live type environment. So this is one of my favorite websites that I'm working on right now. I really love it. Really love where we're going with it. It's gonna be a fun website when it's done. Show you a few more. A lot of different things that we can do with galleries and stuff nowadays. Testimonials even. You notice we're using a lot of images that are very similar or pretty much the same. Again, a lot of these are stock photos that we will rotate out when it's time to do final design. But anyway, this is a great example of some of the things that we can do and some of the ways that I design. Third website I want to show you, my own website. I am in the middle of relaunching my entire business and rebranding it. I've been doing websites and website design, since 2001, I believe. Yeah, 2001, I believe, is when I did my first one. I will tell you, my first website was atrocious. It was embarrassing, but I learned a ton and have learned a ton since then, and integrated it into what I do, and really love the website design and development process. And so recently, I've decided that I wanted to rebrand my entire business and business model, and so I've started this brand new company, Web Design. Frisco webdesign.guru, and this is my website. And this website, believe it or not, is not finished by any stretch of the imagination. The good thing is, as I have started this redesign and rebranding process, I'm already getting numerous clients which is great, which is what I want, what I was hoping for. But the problem is every time I get a new client, I keep putting my own website design on hold. It's that old contractor thing where you can build a huge, beautiful building, but parts of your own house are in desperate need of repair. And so that's kind of where I am in with my website, but I still want to show it to you. I still want to show you where I'm going with it, because the point of this website for me too is a little bit of a sales pitch. I want to show you and show future customers where web design is nowadays and what we can do with it. Things like using new top-level domains. It used to be in a world where you could have a .com, a .net, or a .org. Now we exist in a world where you can get all sorts of different what are called TLDs, top-level domains. And so I have friscowebdesign.guru as my domain name because the .gurus are now available. We can do all sorts of things with even domain names as we jump into design and development. You know, nowadays with media is all around us, and web design has kind of followed that. And now we can do things like just looping background videos just to kind of bring attention to a website. Website design nowadays has a lot of motion, so as I move down the page, my menu flies in, or I click a button and it scrolls exactly to where I need it to on the page. I don't know if you saw it, but this image floated in from the right, space holder. Like I told you, I wasn't done yet. But we've got all kinds of different things that are happening on this website that is a little bit of a sales process for me. Don't want to show you that quite yet. Even things as simple as a contact page, which doesn't seem as updated or new as some of the other things, but there's so much that goes into it nowadays that people don't see. For instance, things like this phone number here, while you're looking at it on a desktop computer, it just seems like your normal phone number, but if you looked at it on a mobile phone, it's a click-to-call number, so they can literally tap the button and it instantly calls me. This location, not quite finished out, but that'll be a click-to-map, so that they see that address. They don't have to do anything but tap on it, and it'll open Google Maps or Apple Maps and have the address on there. So this is a great little website. But again, this is not where I started. I got a long ways to go with this website. One of the things too as a developer that I like to do is also help people integrate solutions into their website, which for me this quote form is a solution to a problem. I need to know when people want to get a web page designed, what they're thinking, why they want something. So I'm able to use different tools like Typeform, not something I own, but something that I license to be able to collect information. And these forms are dynamic and change. And if you answer one thing, it presents you with a different question. Great little solutions as a developer that I can provide people. But again, this isn't where I started. I'm going to show you one of my older websites. This is robyonline.com. This is actually where I started. This website's probably, 8 years old now, 9 years old. So you can really see how design has changed over the years, how I've changed as a designer over years. But this is kind of where I started. But also I wanted to show this to you because wanted to let you know that, I've been a designer for a long time and seen a lot of different things in the web design world. And even nowadays, some of my old websites still exist. Just thought of one, a church one. I think it's Denton Grace Fellowship.com. Oops, can't spell. Try that again. Denton Grace. This is an old website too that I launched 7-8 years ago. Just look it up this way. Yeah, this is it. Designed this about 8 years ago when the grungy look was really big and helped them integrate podcasting and all sorts of different things for their websites. Again, this is an old one. This is not a representation of what I do nowadays, but wanted to give you an idea of where I've come from as a designer too. I don't want to just show you the absolute best, but I want to show you where I've come from. But that does lead me to wanting to talk about the last thing that I really wanted to hit. The reason I don't just do design anymore, and I do development as a big part of My sales pitch is simply because websites nowadays are way different than they were 10 years ago, not just in look, not just in feel, but in how they operate and how Google views them. Um, Many websites years ago, I used to pitch what was called responsive design as an option. Responsive design is taking a website and making it look at the monitor that's viewing it, and depending on what size that display is, showing a different size or style of a website. So for instance, this website here, Roby Online, this is a very old one again, but if I look at it on a typical laptop or a desktop, it looks like this, but if the screen that's looking at it is different, oh, you noticed the links changed, the menu changed, the size of the picture changed, even the motion of the picture ceased because of the window size that is looking at it. This is a feature I used to quote as an option long ago because it was just a nice ad to have on a website if by chance you expected your website to be viewed on a mobile device. But nowadays, Android, iPhone, all of those other things are huge and are just a natural part of our modern world. Everybody runs around with one. And that has completely changed web design. Now, responsive web design isn't really an option, it's a necessity. 2014, Google released some information to the world that really changed web design. They said for the first time, I think it was June of 2014, the number of mobile searches on Google outpaced the number of traditional searches. Literally, they were saying the number of things people were searching for on either a mobile phone or a tablet greatly outpaced the number of searches from a traditional laptop or desktop. At first, the design world thought, oh, that's neat, means that we need to think about responsive a little bit more. But for Google, about a month later, they decided to change how they rank websites because of that. And they literally told the design and development world that they are going to start looking at websites and either prioritizing them or giving them a penalty depending on their mobile user experience. Sorry about that. I'm going to decline that. Sorry about that, guys. Their mobile user experience. But fortunately, they gave us a tool to look at that. And this is the part I really want you to hang on for, because we're going to explore your current website with this tool as well. And it's something huge and important. What I'm going to show you here is Page Speed Insights. And we're going to fire up my most recent one, dianeshacklin.com. Google originally told us that one of the things they wanted to look at is page speeds, see how fast something loads or does not load, and giving a little bit of priority based on that. It does not mean that if you have a page that loads at 90, it is automatically going to outrank a page that loads at 60. It does mean that it will affect it in some ways. Basic rule of thumb we found out is that basically as long as a desktop exists above the 60 mark, 60 out of 100, desktop version of the website exists there, then it really has little to no effect on it. And in the mobile, when they added the mobile speed because of the mobile search increasing, we found that really anything over 60 was good. It's not going to hurt your rankings. It's not going to help your rankings necessarily, but it's good. Obviously, the higher, the better. Google will favor you a little bit. But you know what? Google decided after only a couple months that they wanted to add a different layer. And so they actually kind of started ignoring this speed and really focusing on this user experience. And they gave you a user experience ranking. And this is all about mobile and how a phone or how a phone or a tablet pulls up your website. Google has really emphasized this lately and has been very clear that if you don't have what they are calling now a mobile-friendly website with a high mobile user experience, then you will be penalized. Your website will drop in rankings. Now, most website owners have no clue about this. Even a lot of designers aren't paying attention to this nowadays. And so when you reached out to me and asked for a quote, one of the first things I did is I pulled up Trinity Heritage in this page speed insight tool because I wanted to see where you guys ranked and where you fell and what's going on with your website. Um, Again, you're okay here on your desktop, pulled up at 67 out of 100. That's okay. It's not great. Could be improved. Your mobile, though, as you notice, 58. It's in the red. Okay, that's not as good. Google probably would give you a small penalty for this, but when you scroll down here, this is where your major problems start showing up. For me, in the user experience, we really want something that ranks between 80 to 90 to 100 on the user experience. Google, again, is penalizing heavier and heavier on this mobile user experience. But here's what really concerned me. You see this little flag that Google pops up? This is now one of the primary things that Google is looking at, and it's their mobile-friendly test. This will take a minute to load, but they're looking at a few different things on your website. Things that are a little bit harder to quantify, so they're not necessarily going to give you a 0 through 100 score. They're going to tell you either A, it's mobile-friendly, or B, it's not, and give you a few reasons. And so you see here, instantly, Trinity Heritage pulls up as not mobile-friendly. And this is not good for you guys. And it gives you a few reasons why. Text is too small, you don't have mobile viewpoint set, links too close together. What has basically happened on your Trinity Heritage website is your website is what I will call faux responsive. It is not truly responsive. It may have been billed that way. It may not have. I don't know how this was sold to you, but it is not a truly responsive website. Your website is kind of looking at the size of what's viewing it and adjusting a little bit based on that. But you notice, even as I shrink now, it's not really doing it. Goes to a point and then stops. If I were to pull this up on a phone, the phone would decide, and you can see that over here, the phone would decide to shrink the whole website, including text size, image size, and that sort of deal. And that's really tough because what that's doing is taking like a 12-point font and making it basically a 6-point font. Whereas a traditional, truly responsive website, we'll just do Diane Shacklin again. A truly responsive website, things like text size don't change just because of the monitor viewing it. It keeps a certain text size so that it is still readable, but changes other elements. It might change the menu size. It might change how the menu is presented. We'll set what are called mobile view heights so that if a picture takes up 50% of the screen on a desktop, it takes up 50% of the screen on a mobile device as well. We'll use all of these different things to make it truly responsive. And of course, this is taking forever and a day to complete, but hey, that happens sometimes. Let it keep going. There you go. This is what you want. This is what you want out of a website. You want it to be truly mobily responsive. As you see here, logo really hasn't changed size. The text really basically hasn't changed size or location, but other elements have shrank or moved because of what's viewing them. So the menu is now this little button here that you click and it'll actually open up. Go ahead and show you that. Log out so you can see better. Sorry, showing you the backside. There we go. So again, the menu has actually changed, but the size of the text inside of the menu has not. The logo is basically the same size. The text is still large and readable, but the location of some things have changed. You see how this now is stacked versus having 2 by 2 to make it truly responsive. And this is the kind of things Google is looking for, truly responsive websites that change because of the mobile world that we now live in. We have to work hard on some of these websites to make that happen, but we've found that if you don't, Google truly is penalizing your websites and how high they appear in Google. And even if they appear, some websites are now to the point where if it's truly bad enough and not mobile friendly enough, they will take you completely out of their index. And so this is one of the solutions that I'm trying to help people as a developer see. A lot of times people don't even know that that's a problem. And so I try to help them see problems and solve them, even if they don't know they exist. For you guys, love to help you. Love to help you in Trinity Heritage. Look at your website, look at the needs, help figure out some good solutions, not just to make your website pretty, but to make it usable for you, usable for the end people, and give Google really what they're looking for so that you can rank higher and higher and be more and more known. Again, this is just a few of my websites, just a small handful. If you want more information, if you have any questions now that we've run through this, if I was really confusing because I just kind of did this off the cuff, I would love to answer any of your questions. Stan, feel free to email me, give me a call, do my best to answer those. But thanks, guys, for your time. Thank you so much for letting me show you some of my websites. I'll talk to you soon.